Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Here we are. Welcome to my little abode. Very happy here. I feel very fortunate. And it's a really good morning, don't you think? Yesterday was a little fraught with fear and not that much fun. And so it's nice that we're having a better morning now. Make sure I'm all up on all the little electronics going, get them humming along just beautifully, you know. Now I think we're here. All right, good. And I see Eileen Brummel. How nice to see you here. This is fabulous. I'm very excited about this. All right, so to get started, I'm going to open the Akashic Records, and one of the things I'm going to do on the Zoom, because I can, is put the prayer up on the screen. So that you can follow along on YouTube. And I may later on put the YouTube video up on the Facebook page, the group page, so that you can watch it that way. But we're going to open your Akashic Records. And as we do this, there's a place in here in line 5 where you use your legal name, and I'll cue you for that. The rest of the time you say me or my in reference to everything that is said. And basically, you don't have to have this perfect. You don't have to have it down pat. Just kind of follow along, and even more importantly, be in the energy of the words and how things are shifting for you. Good morning, Davina. Kisses and hugs. Glad to see you here. Okay, we're going to open the Akashic Records. And here's the prayer. By the power of divine light within us, come, Holy Spirit, Spirit of light, Spirit of truth. For the highest good of all throughout time, fill my heart with divine love. As I humbly ask permission to open the divine portal to the highest realm of the Akashic Records for, use your legal name here, Akashic beings of light, guide me to the deepest truth of my being, releasing any blocks and restrictions to my abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist me to fully embody my soul's light, to fill my soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround me with the enlightenment and wisdom of my masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct my perspective and actions to those that manifest my divine plan. Akashic beings of light, guide me to the deepest truth of my being, releasing any blocks and restrictions to my abundance and Great Creatress, assist me to fully embody my soul's light, to fulfill my soul's purposes and to heal any accumulated karma. Excuse me. Surround me with the enlightenment and wisdom of my masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct my perspective and actions to those that manifest my divine plan. Akashic beings of light, guide me to the deepest truth of my being, releasing any blocks and restrictions to my abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist me to fully embody my soul's light, to fulfill my soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround me with the enlightenment and wisdom of my masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct my perspective and actions to those that manifest my divine plan. Free of all resistance, judgment, and fear, I am now filled with divine love, and the records are open. Now settle into your Akashic records. Be where you are. Have the feelings you're having. Notice what you notice. Just managing the electronics here. Okay. All right. That's not working, so we're going to leave it there. I'm going to read a little bit to you from my book, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness, an Akashic Records Guide to Living a Fulfilled Life. And this is what I read for myself this morning to put myself in the right state for doing this live, my preparation. And this is chapter 29, and it's called Awaiting Divine Timing. You know, as I read, good morning, Marie, good morning, Catherine. So, as I read, you can put in the comments things that really hit home for you in this reading. What makes sense to you about awaiting divine timing and the conversation that this chapter brings forth about divine will and self-will, and the combination of divine and self-will. Like, let me know what's making sense to you. Divine timing for humans appears to be highly complex, uncontrollable, and terribly frustrating. Let us discuss self-will and divine will, and how they can work together harmoniously, resulting in your ability to function efficiently and effortlessly. in accordance with divine timing. We remind you that the great Creatress created everything, including self-will and divine will. Remember also that she utilizes everything to good purpose in executing her divine plan. And this supports your soul in fulfilling its divine plan. Release your personal agenda of forcing a preconceived result into existence. Surrender instead and harmonize with the energy that is already present. For many decades, we have been transmitting to Earth the energy of new solutions, born on frequencies of harmony, healing, and love for all life forms. You will find relaxation awaiting for you here as you release your human agenda and walk hand in hand with the divine. You will find the peace, the possibility, and openness that is available to you in each moment. Herein lies another opportunity to develop trust in the divine. Awaiting divine timing is an exercise in releasing personal will, also known as self-will, in favor of the dramatically inventive and interactive divine will. Divine will always loves and supports everyone, including all life forms. There are no winners or losers. There is simply the now moment, filled with healing, love, and life. Self-will. You might recognize the characteristics below and heed them as a warning. It is, in its uncooperative form, self-will will be pushy, brittle, driven, and demanding others to be different than they are, requiring this and that to be happy and needing to be treated as special. Self-will steps on the toes of your nearest and dearest. Self-will is often based in fear of not getting what you want, or of someone else getting what you want at your expense. Self-will by design is limited and cannot conceive of the grand scheme of the great Creatress. In a duality-based world, self-will takes sides and insists on its side is the only correct side. Self-will injures as it presumes superiority. Therefore, unconscious inferiority, condescension, and judgment are its companions. Undisciplined self-will is fueled by the insatiable ego's consuming fire. Self-will is a function of the old paradigm that everything comes into existence by the sweat of one's brow through enormous personal effort. Self-will leads you with a blind eye to the bulldozing effect on others. Self-will covers up the tragic fear, the fragile fear, and inadequacy lurking beneath. Self-will causes physical pain through its pushing matter forward, like Sisyphus, forever pushing the rock uphill. Self-will is narrow and takes not the advice of the wise ones, friends, or concerned observers. Now, to be fair, there are good reasons why you have self-will. Self-will gets things done, especially in survival situations. Self-will is persistent and creates an opening, a pressure of the divine idea well formed to be executed in present time. Self-will can be the cause of action whose energy is ripe for the taking and is like the dam releasing its flow. The action taken begets more action within the flow. Self-will seizes the moment and incorporates the resources available to support and further the cause undertaken. Self-will expressed as self-discipline performs the tasks required for the fulfillment of divine right action. Self-will may be the necessary element to implement your soul's purposes, especially if you feel that action required forges new energetic pathways and thought lines. Consciously employed, self-will can be an expression of faith in action. Self-will may be the way that a problem is exposed for deeper review, such as a character defect. How the deeper truth is revealed. Self-will may be how the great creatress stirs up the status quo in your life and moves your attention and energy into other fields of endeavor. Self-will may cause the mistake, the error, that inevitably becomes the gift inside. I can tell you guys are ready for something different, and I'm going to check back in and see if we got questions that I need to check out. Here we go. Excuse me. All right. Good morning. All right, let me just see. I'm going to refresh my page and see if we have any questions typed in here, or anybody find anything useful in the reading this morning, or are you letting it settle in, and can you start to feel how self-will works in your life, how sometimes it's a thing that even gets in the way of hearing divine will or being divinely guided, because your brain and your ego, or you've already spent this much energy trying to produce results in this direction, and now sometimes we have to change directions. Mid-course corrections, I call them. And it's not fun. It's not even that easy. I'd like to read some more because the rest of the chapter really brings in more about the divine will and divine timing. And that really is the important objective here. And so, unless you guys start commenting on Facebook and on YouTube, I'm going to keep reading because this is good information for us to know. If you got here late, I'm reading out of chapter 29, Divine Time, Awaiting Divine Timing, in my book, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness, an Akashic Records Guide to Living a Fulfilled Life. All right. Self-will, the way that a problem is explained, we did that. Self-will may cause the mistake, the error that eventually becomes the gift inside the problem. I love how this takes the problem and sees it as a wrapper for a gift inside. And the saying that inside every problem is the solution. Oh, good. Listen to you. My self-will has had too much power lately. This helps. I love hearing that. It helps me too, because, you know, I have big ideas, and I'm conditioned by my society and my upbringing, and I'm supposed to be doing this like a business, and it doesn't run at all like a business. It runs like spiritual influences at work, and it barely keeps a schedule, much less a budget. But anyway, okay. It goes in. The book goes into an example about myself in an earlier part of my life, but I'd like to go into here. Self-will is action personified. Divine will is the wisdom and timing of the action. Divine will. Divine will knows the play, its players, and the hidden motivations that make up the complex web of interactions with other humans. Divine will is far-seeing and considers the far-reaching effects of and on others. Divine will makes use of the ripples of changes that happen down the line. Divine will, rightly related, lifts a small action from the mundane into the divinely inspired. Okay, divine will utilizes everything and all of you. Spirit, mind, body, emotions, history, and circumstances. Divine will is intimately familiar with your soul's purpose and your soul's constant evolution. Divine will causes harmony and alignment with your soul and the great creatress, so that right action flows forth even from the most desperate situations. So I'm seeing a question here. I'm going to give up and put the glasses on because I am struggling without them. All right. I'm thinking about a big change and not sure if it's my self-will or not. This reading is perfect to hear. Okay, let me just get a sense of you. And this is Davina. Oh, okay. Part of the inspiration for this big change is frustration. And feeling powerless in situations, I get a sense that it's from work, and being unsatisfied, and thinking, well, when am I going to shift my life to a more satisfying focus? So there's let your truth be told in this circumstance, in your off hours, in your outside of work life. Let the truth be told, even if you are talking to yourself. And let the truth of how much you know the divine loves you and guides you to be true and spoken out loud. You may need to write affirmations about how the divine works through you in all circumstances in your life, in all areas of your life, in every category. Work, life, play, relationships, nutrition, body, whatever this topic is. The divine works through you in every, especially now that you're embodying your soul's light. The divine is going to work through you even more and bring your usefulness to the divine and your soul to a greater and greater presence and fulfillment. So that's one aspect. There's two more. Okay. Frustration is kind of on the side of, the heck with it, resignation or resentment, and your action can come from a greater place. Have that frustration be transformed into, this is energy. Every emotion is energy. Every feeling is energy. Every thought that you're creating or curating is energy. And how can you accept it with wide open arms that you're having this experience and use it to, I'm seeing like little wings on your feet to move you and move your steps forward, little wings on your ankles. There's one of those Greek gods that had that, like the runner. And let this move you towards a conscious shift rather than coming from an acronym I have for God is gift of desperation, rather than coming from just this sort of desperate feeling like, I gotta make a change, I gotta get out of here, as like, all right, this is the opening, this is how it starts, and I want to tune myself to my soul's light and consciousness and my innate connection with the divine and say, okay, divine, what are you preparing me for? How do I support this preparation? What am I doing that supports preparation towards this shift and change in life? And what do I need to let go of that is not supportive? So I'm thinking that the frustration and the anger, is not supportive, and opening to the divine's message to you is supportive. Now you may begin to find this change. You might exercise it through some kind of volunteer work. Just a little slice, a couple hours a week. Something that you do that's not creating money, it's not about career, it's not about your giant spiritual strides, it's just about making a little difference, and it gets you out of yourself. Ooh, that feels good. The energy in my calves and my feet just shifted hugely. Okay, that's good. So we're hitting home on a couple of points here, and I think this is helpful And I think it's helpful to anybody who might be tuning in on Facebook or on YouTube. And please do comment. I love the conversation. You're part of this, and you're the reason I have these things, these events, you're the reason. So whatever you need, I'm here to support and give you lift. All right. The rest of this paragraph. Divine will is intimately familiar with your soul's purpose and your soul's constant evolution. Divine will causes harmony and alignment with your soul and the great creatress so that right action flows forth, even from the most desperate situation. You experience divine will as energetic flow, the unwavering guidance and expanded consciousness of the whole tapestry. Consciously harmonizing your self-will with divine will tames the negative effects of self-will in a similar way that Aikido uses the attacker's inertia to the defender's benefit. Divine will utilizes your self-will's driven determination to fulfill your soul's purposes. Divine will turns regretful mistakes into valuable currency for substantial change. Don't you love that? These are channel chapters, so I didn't write this. This is channeled by Anubis, my guide. Divine will turns regretful mistakes into valuable currency for substantial change. Divine will supplants the personality's self-will, much as exchanging an underpowered engine on a large boat for a far larger engine. Divine will supplants the personality's self-will, much as exchanging an underpowered engine on a large boat for a far larger engine. All the while allowing the human to stand at the wheel, hair blowing in the wind, sun shining on her smiling face, believing she is in control. Just love that. Because it kind of makes fun of my need to feel like I know what I'm doing, you know? I always need to feel like I know what I'm doing. And I don't. Listen, folks, I want you to know how few moments happen where I feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm blundering on, I'm blind, I'm groping and grasping for the least little thread of divine help. I'm hoping things work out for the best. Generally they do, but the process, it's not particularly easy or kind. But it is what it is. All right. Alignment with divine will releases vast stores of forward momentum, manifesting your divine plan and your soul's purposes. So, if you persist in this book, which I think is a good idea, there's a whole exercise called how to align your self-will with divine will. All right, my equipment is taking a minute to reconnect, so I'm going to take a minute to realign myself. Very good. Things are going. All right. Divine will is loving, yet firm in its clarity. Divine will is much simpler than self-will. Which says to me, like, if I'm doing something and it's getting constantly more and more complicated, or tangled. I would say I'm operating from self-will, not from divine will. And maybe I have to take a moment to just stop, get centered, re-embody my soul's light and consciousness, reconnect to the divine through that embodying my soul's light and consciousness, and say, okay, divine, what is your message? I'm open. I'll take your direction. I'll move in the way that you want it. All right, that's great. You can read it when you get home. I'm tickled pink, and then you can come back and leave a comment too. Have a great time today. Is it Addie? Oh, Anne. Thank you, Anne. Such a pleasure to have you. Okay. Divine will, excuse me, I'm going back up here. Divine will is direct, whereas self-will is cagey, secretive, and covert. Self-will works alone, while divine will works in a cooperative manner. Divine will is overt, operating in plain view, so ever present it is in the background rather than foreground. Divine will requires subordination of self-will, which at first may feel risky and awkward. Divine will requires a new way of seeing, a new perspective that ascertains the guidance already. It's like stopping and tuning into divine will, and my soul's light realigns me with what divine will is supplying me as a new way of seeing, a new perspective that can actually ascertain the guidance already in place. Divine will is flexible, providing an abundance of suitable choices. For choose you will, and choose you must. Why you choose, what you choose, are elements to master. So am I choosing because I'm fearful? Am I choosing because it's an empowerment? Am I choosing because it makes somebody else happy and it's not too much of a sellout on my part? You know, what's my motivation for choosing? That's an element to master, and choice is really one of the big things we're here in bodies to learn. Choice about what I think, choice about what I'm influenced by, choice about who I'm listening to, choice about how I'm framing things with my words, how I'm thinking about things. Am I choosing to believe mass thought, or am I actually stopping and asking myself, what do I really think? Does this fit with my values, my beliefs? Choosing, so important. Choosing is about laying out a number of options in plain view. So many times I'm knee-jerk reactioning it. And no, I'm not really choosing. I'm a knee-jerk reaction. I'm fear. I'm like, hurry. I want to please. And, anyway. So I'm not really laying out the options in plain view. Not just the dualistic either-or choices. Be open to the artistic, off-path, magic may exist. This is very important for you, Davina, because really like letting yourself play with ideas and possible visualizations. Listen, you can use your imagination for anything you want, and using your imagination to foresee a new future, to see some new options, some new choices is really good. And you just kind of have to sit and play and have whatever your imagination dishes out, and you just say, okay, that's great. What else? What else? Oh, that's interesting. There's another option. What else? And keep finding as many options as you can until you come across something that really goes, ooh, that lands in my heart, in my spiritual heart, has my energy, is my connection with my soul even more, vibrant and brilliant or buzzing, or alive. Choosing is best done with your Akashic Records open so that you include your soul's perspective. You can ask the Akashic beings of light or your masters, teachers, and loved ones to help you. You can also ask the great creatress to reveal the choices she has already brought you and why she chose these options for you. Yes, folks, you can question the divine about why. This is a good question. There is a lot of good spiritual food underneath that question. Okay, divine, why are you bringing these choices? Why are you bringing these influences? Why are you bringing up this, maybe this, the weakness of mine, a possibility of, I'm going to get roped into some other relationship and all of a sudden my life is all about the guy. Like this is the thing I'm not doing anymore. Not doing that. I run that road until it's ragged. So what happens when I don't make those choices? What happens? How is my life? What is here for me? Who do I get to be in the world if I don't fall for the old formats or the old choices? Okay, what are you offering here, divine, and why? Divine will aligned with personal self-will produces more than a third choice. The combination naturally produces choices that are conducive to achieving the greatest good for the greatest number. Many choices achieve the desired result through a variety of routes. So listen, some big choices start with a series of smaller routes or smaller choices that pave the road to the new choice, the big choice, the opportunity that you're really looking for. When I recently separated from a relationship that was really like the best I'd ever had in my whole life, and we'd been together for 13 years, and it just came about that that we'd had, I gave myself the opportunity to look and see, well, what if I didn't live with him? What if I didn't, let him pay all my bills? What if could I live on my own? Can I support myself? What's it like? What does it feel like imagining living on my own and supporting myself? And it was irresistible. I had to choose it. Okay, Marie, hi. Can you explain why innocent children are abused overall? Thank you. Some of them, unfortunately, and as difficult it may be to see, have chosen this route. And they've chosen to get a lot of very bad things out of the way early on, because what ends up happening later in adulthood as they think for themselves, step out of dangerous relationships or relationships that suck, or with narcissists, or with alcoholic or addicted parents. When they step out of that paradigm and start depending on their own wits and choosing to make their own decisions, operating outside some of the boxes that they were given that are too small for them, they become very powerful human beings on this planet. But they've chosen to get all the hard stuff up front and to repackage themselves, as it were, with divine help into a far greater contribution to society. And they may also have chosen to be the innocent in a circumstance to teach the abusers about the misuse of power. And there are two very strong, good reasons for a soul who would choose to have abuse in early life in their incarnation in a body, and choose a family member or an uncle or a friend or a boss or whomever to be their abuser. And believe me, I've seen it so many times when people choose or setting up their next lifetime, and they're going, okay, I want you to be my mom, I want you to be my dad, I want you to be my whatever, and all right, who's going to be the bad guy? All right. Oh, and you love me so much as a soul that you will perform this awful task, this awful service to me, because I believe that my soul needs this experience in order to evolve. Now, that also questions the structure that abuse is necessary, difficulties are necessary for it to evolve. Pain and suffering is necessary to evolve. It's not always necessary, but it's been a long-standing habit in humanity's evolution, and it's a slow way to evolve. It's not the only way to evolve, and it's not an easy way. And when innocent children are abused, it's as if they've chosen to forfeit their innocence, to surrender that innocence, like the innocence is some kind of insulation, and not be insulated from suffering or the misuse of power, or maybe it's what it takes for this innocent child to grow up and have boundaries and have a sense of self that's worthy of protecting, of worthy of abiding by and next to and with, and worthy of protecting themselves, and worthy of choosing the divine as the great protector, as the great guider, and to throw away the family law book in the second chakra, just throw that out, or rip huge chunks of those pages out of the family law book and say, I'm not abiding by this rule book. This does not play. This is faulty, and I reject it as a resource, because it's choosing the wrong things and produces the wrong result. That's a very good question, Marie. Really good question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit more. Did I miss any questions? Just checking. All right. I'm going to read a little bit more. We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time. And there are no dumb questions. They're all good. If it's something that you need to know, it's a good question. And it doesn't matter if it's like really simple or, you know, maybe it exposes some feature of yourself. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're probably asking a question that's really good for everyone who watches these videos. So it's all right. Serve the group in your own little way. So let's see. Divine will aligned with personal self-will produces more than a third choice. The combination naturally produces choices that are conducive to achieving the greatest good for the greatest number. Many choices achieve the desired result through a variety of routes. Harmony results from allowing your self-will to align with divine will. Self-will with divine will eases stress, clarifies actions that serve your soul's purposes, and reduces the angst produced by operating on self-will alone. Aligning self-will with divine will steers you in an optimal direction toward an inspired end. It is not an end as much as a pause in the continuance, for in truth, there simply is no end. Instead, there are various levels of refinement. Refinement of choices, refinement of connection with the great Creatress and her divine will, refinement of higher purposes, refinement of who is served in the greatest way. Awaiting divine timing is like waiting for a peach to ripen, for the flavor and sweetness to develop fully, and for the stone to be easily removed. In summary, we have self-will leading the parade, marching staff in hand, knees lifted high with each step, intent on having its way, assuming that all the marchers behind her are in step with her lead. Aligned with and guided by divine will, self-will eventually results in an easier, more inspired journey, and it ensures that the human is in the middle of the pack, playing her part in the divine drama. Self-will, humbly aligned and motivated by divine will, promotes fulfillment of all souls' purposes. So let's read that one again. Self-will, humbly aligned and motivated by divine will, promotes fulfillment of all souls' purposes. Divine will presides over all and lovingly lays the groundwork for divine timing. Divine timing occurs when the energy is ripe for action. All the details seem to have sorted themselves out and are lined up so that the action produces the highest result with the least effort. And the journey goes on. We bid you adieu for now. I would recommend that you do the exercise on page 231 called How to Align Your Self-Will with Divine Will. And get familiar with that. Get a feeling of how that feels in your body, why it could possibly be useful. It sets you up energetically for some different results and some new experiences. And can be very useful as you just as time goes on. It's surprising what small little exercises like this do to you to prep you for your journey. and get factored in lots of different ways that are helpful. And they'll occur to you at a later date. Like, oh, now maybe I'm hitting my head against the brick wall and I'm operating on self-will and I'm trying to muscle it and mastermind it, and I'm well, maybe I need to drop back, get centered, embody my soul's light, or bring in my permanent and become focused on my permanent atom of light, which does the same thing as embodying your soul's light, and connect with the divine and allow yourself to be motivated by, aligned with, inspired by divine will for you, and see how that lines up your purposes, your soul's purposes, with the way things are, and see if you can get a unified image when they cross over and start to be one purpose. So this feels like I think that's it, folks. Thank you for letting me read to you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your beautiful questions. You know, and I'm thinking it'd be lovely to do a class on choice and refinement. You know, maybe the idea is not completely expired. It just needs some refinement. Maybe that possible choice is not exactly a dead end. It just needs some refinement. I'm really tuned into that word, that this whole thing of aligning my self-will with divine will is an exercise in refining my choices and my abilities to choose well in a higher way. And it'd be fun to do a class just exploring that. And if you're interested in that, say yes on the refinement of choices class. Put that in the comments. I love comments. Please, it helps so much. It's like, then I don't feel like I'm talking to a screen, I'm talking to an actual set of people on the other side. And I really love connecting with all of you. Right, so I thank you for today. Thank you. Thank you for being present. Oh, we have to close the records. And for those of you on Zoom, I'm going to do a share again. And I'll show you the closing prayer. Here we go. Thanking the great Creatress and her Holy Spirit for love, protection, and healing received this day. Thanking the Akashic beings of light for guidance. Thanking the masters, teachers, and loved ones for wisdom and direction. The divine portal and the Akashic records are now closed. Amen, amen, amen. May your day be fulfilling. Thank you. Thank you. Bless you. Thank you, Davina. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Anne. Thank you for everybody who's here in the now and in the future. I do so appreciate it. Lots of love. Bye. Okay. And if you will, please subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And I do appreciate that. And if you feel like it, I'm going to put the tipping link in there, in the Venmo or the Ko-Fi link, something like that. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, divinely inspired day.